It's time to get lost in the Midcard. This Bleav in Pro Wrestling property is brought to you by Bet Online, the continued #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Join now and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code Bleav. Now, here are Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black on the Bleav Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where I could probably get used to these pay-per-view Saturdays. It is Lost in the Midcard. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JBHuskers. And as always, my co-host to my right, he is on the Twitter at ROH Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's Monday. We're a little bit an hour before Raw. We're ready to roll. Let's do this.
What's up, Steven Chambers and Mark Cho in the chat?
What's up,
Thank you for joining us live. Of course, if you're joining us live, give us some comments, questions, everything in the chat. We will love to hear from you. A big weekend, of course, this Saturday. Both Ring of Honor Final Battle and NXT Deadline happened. We will break those down shortly. And some news, lots of news from the weekend and today as well. Some interesting stuff just dropping as well. And of course, we'll always keep our eye out for anything breaking going forward as well. Of course, as we lead up to Monday Night Raw here at the top of the hour. But of course, as I just mentioned, Saturday was pay-per-view Saturday. And we kicked things off in the afternoon with a little bit of Ring of Honor Final Battle had occurred, and I would say overall, I think, Matt, it was a damn good show. That double dog collar match, probably match of the night, in my opinion. Of course, it's hard to go against FTR and Briscoes, but I thought overall, from top to bottom, I thought there was nothing that was really a disappointment. Maybe a lack of any kind of surprise, which is, it's okay. I guess you can go without a surprise here and there. But overall, I thought it was a very enjoyable pay-per-view. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought top to bottom the show over exceeded my expectations. I wasn't super excited about the event going in. I wasn't thrilled that the Claudio Jericho rematch, the Garcia Willer Yuta rematch. I'm like, and then they rematched FTR and Briscoes again. And I'm like, guys, come on now.
So many
and
rematches.
Look, I knew the dog collar match was going to make up for the fact that they were doing that match again. But I was just like, I wasn't exactly hyped going into Final Battle on Saturday. But honestly, I thought the show blew me away. And like I said on social media over the weekend, the only thing that disappointed me is I expected at some point in the show we were going to get an announcement on their weekly show. And to me, that just would have made sense. But then when we found out what happened afterwards, I was like, I get why they didn't announce it.
I don't get it. We'll briefly talk about it now before we get into the show itself. But Honor Card is back.
Honor Club.
Or Honor, whatever. It is.
Whatever it is.
It's $9.99, and you don't even get a pay-per-view until 90 days after it airs. And the television show is going to only air on this. And I think it's a disservice to the brand, but it's also making me wonder if Tony couldn't get a deal struck.
Well, I'm thinking whatever deal lines up with Ring of Honor in 2023, it's going to coincide with their new deal for AEW. And Tony doesn't want to make one deal without making the other. Yeah. I think that's what the holdup is, and I think everything when the deal's announced for AEW, the deal's also going to be announced for Ring of Honor, and that's why Tony's putting it on Honor Club now, because he can gain like a proof of concept for a series on there, and eventually, it's going to move to be it HBO Max or TBS, TNT, True TV, you know, one of the Warner Brothers properties. I don't think it's going to live there permanently, but at this point you needed to put it somewhere because the excess of Ring of Honor over the last 6 months has really taken its toll on the AEW product.
Yeah.
So finally getting some separation between these two brands is necessary. And if the overall importance on Ring of Honor is scaled back on AEW TV, I think it's going to be a win across the board. I will say in terms of Honor Club being back, if you go and you look at the service, I downloaded the app over the weekend to take a look at it. It's much better than the Honor Club from like 3 years ago. And they have events on there all the way back from 2002 Ring of Honor till now. So it's pretty much, which I'm sure there's probably a thing or two missing, but it's the complete Ring of Honor library. And what's not there now will probably be added to it. So I think it's a good thing. I don't like the idea of having to pay for a weekly television product, but yeah, you know, we'll see how it is.
Yeah, I think it's even more annoying that the pay-per-views are just not included into that.
Well, that's a Warner Brothers Discovery thing.
Yeah.
There's no way they were going to include them and still be on Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
So that's what that came down to. That's another thing of Tony keeping Warner Brothers Discovery happy.
Well, and then also for crying out loud, can we get rid of Bleacher Report? But the funny part was
Bleacher Report.
Yeah, the funny part was Bleacher Report outperformed Peacock for some time there because Peacock had some issues. Thankfully, they got them fixed by the time we went to the main show, but the kickoff show had a ton of audio issues on there where Bleacher Report actually ran pretty smooth for Final Battle. 0 Hour, some great talent on 0 Hour, so check out the AEW YouTube page to see that. I watched that actually this afternoon. I thought Jeff Cobb looked great. Get him signed, please. Cheeseburger is still over in 2022. If you didn't know, they had a decent short match with Parker and Menard. Two women who are very tremendous talents: Willow Nightingale and Trish Adora. Another woman that needs to be signed, Trish Adora. They had a short match. I wish it would have been a little longer. And then the biggest match, probably the best match, just because it was the longest match and with who was involved. And I was kind of surprised that Top Flight went over the Kingdom. How about you?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes, I'm surprised if Top Flight is going to remain as a focused tag team on Dynamite and Rampage. No, if Top Flight is going to be a Ring of Honor act and the first challengers for the Briscoes. Yeah. So I will say my opinion on that right now is to be determined. If Top Flight remain an AEW weekly act, I will say that was a surprising call. But if they're being groomed to be ROH stars and the Briscoes first challengers, it was probably the right call. But I don't like the idea of the Kingdom, taking all these L's right now either.
Yeah.
So
in due time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with them at the moment. I feel like they're just waiting for Adam Cole to come back.
Yeah, and that's I think that's going to be the spot for Adam Cole to land too.
And if that's the thing, then the Kingdom's not going to be Ring of Honor.
No,
you don't put the Kingdom in Ring of Honor with Adam. You don't put Adam Cole in Ring of Honor.
And maybe that's why they lost.
I think that would be a terrible decision.
And maybe that's why they lost. Maybe they're going to be in AEW and get their bearings back with Adam Cole's return, whatever that may be.
Hopefully sooner rather than later. I miss them on my TV.
I missed the first couple of matches on the card here. We had AR Fox and Blake Christian. That's a hell of a team right there. They defeated Rush and Jurlistico y La Facción de
defeated.
Yeah, so what happened there? I did not watch. So what happened?
AR Fox hit, I think it was a 450 splash on Jurlistico. And Jurlistico kicked out prior to 3, but the referee counted 3.
Oh.
And rang the bell and called the match. And Rush the Douche and Jurlistico flipped out and started hitting Christian and Fox with unprotected chair shots to the head and just trying to get their freaking heat back. and they like ripped the referee's shirt. It was pretty freaking wild. And it was one of those things. I was really annoyed at the end of the Tony Khan media call Saturday night that nobody asked about that.
Really? Yeah.
Like, not one person in the crowd asked about that. I'm like, what are you guys even doing?
Was the
like,
internet?
There were a lot of questions left on the table Saturday night. I thought it was one of the worst media scrums Tony Khan's ever had, because I thought the questions, for the most part, were not good.
Was Twitter questioning it?
Oh, yeah, dude. Everybody wanted to know what the heck was up with that after the match was over. It was very evident that that finish did not go as planned. It's very clear that Roosh and Jalistico were supposed to win that match.
Athena, for the first time in 5 years, is now champion thanks to defeating Mercedes Martinez, which we all kind of expected and predicted. How'd that match look for you?
Oh, it was awesome. Great match. They beat the hell out of each other. But Athena, this has been a long time coming for that girl.
Yeah.
I'm so freaking happy for her. She put on a great match, and that crowd, that Texas crowd, it had to have been like 95-5.
Oh, I bet.
Athena. It was a very pro.
She's from Houston,
Athena
isn't she?
crowd. Yeah, like right up the road.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. It was a very, very good match. And Steven, I absolutely think that is going to be a future feud in Ring of Honor next year. Willow and Athena going to tear the house down in Ring of Honor.
Though, of course, Willow was in Ring of Honor before it ended, But I mean, she's so popular now, you got to almost have her in AEW. But
I think she's going to be Ring of Honor. I really do.
Yeah.
I think you got to round out that women's division over there, and I think she has a much greater chance of being a star over there, especially when you got people like Saraya and Sasha Banks reportedly coming in. You don't want someone like Willow getting lost in the shuffle, and I don't believe she would get lost in the shuffle in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and Sasha Banks confirmed for Wrestle Kingdom, and now is officially a free agent in the first of the year, which is just so happens to be when Saraya has her tag match with Jamie and Britt, which is I can't remember.
How can you not be excited about this?
I can't remember the name of the special Dynamite that this is for, but yeah,
it's the one in LA.
Does it not have a name?
11th. I don't think it has a special name right now.
They have so
many
names.
They might end up giving it a special name beforehand, because you got that match. You've got match 7 of Lucha Bros and the Elite. I mean, they're already stacking up that card.
Imagine the week before, and Excalibur's running down the card like he does in super fast motion, and gets to that match and goes, "Presented by Mercedes Benz." Oh, wouldn't that burn the internet up?
My God. There's no way that's going to happen. Stop it.
That would burn the internet down. And this match presented by Mercedes Benz.
That would be ridiculous.
Saraya and a mystery opponent.
I don't think it's going to happen, but 2, that would be a huge sponsor get for All Elite Wrestling if they got Mercedes Benz
right
to sponsor their show or their match or anything.
Mark Show's saying they got all these names here, so I figured the LA show had a name too. So it's almost every Dynamite that has a name. Beach Break, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I remember when they had Beach Break in the winter in Minnesota last year. Or was it Cleveland?
Cleveland one year too.
Oh yeah, the beaches of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Statlander, possible. I don't know how close she is to coming back, but
if it's anybody, let me put it this way. There's only 3 acceptable answers for this. And 2 of them, in one of them, are still questionable. The questionable one would be Thunder Rosa. Yeah. It's still a big return of the former champion, but I think it would leave a lot of people let down. 2, probably not going to happen due to circumstances and tipping your hand, AJ Lee. And 3, Sasha Banks. If it's anybody other than those 3, and they do not reveal who it is before that match is set to go on, AEW is going to be dealing with a lot of shit afterwards. You don't build up a match for a month and have it be someone like Tony Storm
Yeah.
or Chris
No.
Statlander or, Ruby Soho or something like that. It has to be a game-changing name. And if it's not one of those three, I mean, look, I'll even go for fourth. It could be Naomi. But I think Naomi, if Sasha's coming in, I think Naomi's coming in too. But I think Naomi will be. It seems like they might want her to do something with Jade.
I mean, is the heat off of Tessa Blanchard?
I think no national company wants to touch her right now. I don't think AEW would take that risk.
And MK,
yes, 100%.
We're all under the assumption he's coming back anyway.
I believe CM Punk is coming back. And if they want to tip their hand early, sure. It could be AJ Lee in LA. But I don't know if you want to tip your hand that early.
I've seen signs. I've seen signs that make it seem like Punk's going to come back. But that's still several months away, too, by the way.
Yeah, like I don't know what his process is on his injury recovery.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, granted on that time frame, I think we probably don't see him until around a couple weeks before Double or Nothing. I think that's when he'll be back. But I mean, we're a far ways out for that right now.
Yeah, Safat in the chat saying Jay White wants Mercedes in the Bullet Club. Not a bad idea.
He did mention that to Sean Ross Sapp on the Fightful interview over the weekend. He said he thought Sasha would be a great addition to the Bullet Club, and I think she would be too. He also acknowledged Mia Yim as part of the Bullet Club, based on they're still acknowledging that the OC faction on WWE Raw right now is a part of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on here with Final Battle. This is where I was able to come in at, and we had Swerve in Our Glory taking on Shane Taylor Promotions. Good to see Shane Taylor looking amazing. How about Keith Lee catching Shane Taylor on a crossbody? For Christ's sake,
dude. Unbelievable.
If there is anybody that's a grown-ass man, it's Shane Taylor, and Keith Lee caught him doing a crossbody.
He caught him like he didn't weigh anything.
Right? Oh,
like
my
God.
God.
It was nuts.
He didn't waver. As expected, Swerve walks out. Didn't turn, didn't join Shane Taylor. But then Keith Lee went beast mode and took JD Griffey out of the ring, or actually knocked Shane Taylor out of the ring and pinned JD Griffey. So KeithLee looking very strong after it became 2-on-1, which I saw you didn't agree with, and I thought it looked a little fishy too.
I didn't love the finish. The only explanation that I can take from this is Shane Taylor Promotions isn't signed, which I think after that match,
they need to be.
TK didn't put pen to paper on those two guys. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking. Because Shane Taylor should have been with them months ago. And JD Griffey had a star-making performance at Final Battle in that tag team match.
Yeah.
So, I didn't love the idea of Lee winning all by himself. But, it is what it is. I love Lee. I love Swerve. And, and I love Shane Taylor. But I feel like this would have been a very big win for Shane Taylor Promotions. And this is something that could have set them up on the path towards the Briscoes.
Yeah.
And
I thought, well, Steven in the chat saying I thought Swerve was going to join Shane Taylor. I thought that I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought it was going to be a Swerve and Keith Lee joined. And
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, so
Lee makes a better babyface, and Swerve absolutely makes the better heel. But yeah, Swerve needs his own faction, and I think that's coming sooner rather than later. But I think it's going to fall on the AEW side of things than Ring of Honor. And I think if Shane Taylor Promotions gets signed, they're going to be a group that's earmarked for Ring of Honor. I don't foresee them being, on AEW programming on a weekly basis.
If there was anything certain, that was the next match was a title change. The Embassy taking on Dalton Castle and the Boys. The Embassy being Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. I said if I could guarantee anything, this would be a title change, and sure enough, 10 minutes later, we have new champions with Brian Cage and Khan and Toa Leona. Good match though. Good, entertaining. I didn't think it sucked at all. I just expected a title change.
As long as Dalton Castle is going to be a part of Ring of Honor's plans, next year, totally fine with this. But if this was done to, you know, write Castle and the boys off, I think it was a major mistake. I think he's a huge player for Ring of Honor, and there's no way that that should happen.
That's an interesting pairing from Mark Cho in the chat here. Swerve buys out Private Party's deal from the firm. That'd be an interesting group.
It's not a bad idea, but Matt Hardy and Private Party have gone on record multiple times about how much they love working together.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they want to do another Private Party versus Matt Hardy thing again.
No, I think they're
better off on the same side than against each other.
Yeah, and they've already kind of sowed the seeds for them to be. They're eventually going to be trios champions, I would assume. They've already sown that. Those
I think it all depends on when Jeff comes back.
Yeah. Next up is a pure championship match between Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, one of the many rematches in the card, but yet I thought this was very well done. I thought it was a great story told with Wheeler Yuta using up all of his rope breaks almost immediately, and then the BCC way of just punishing someone took over, and Wheeler Yuta put out Daniel Garcia. I thought it was a tremendous match, Matt.
I knew as soon as Garcia took out Yuta's 3 rope breaks, I'm like, there's no way he's not winning this match, because that would have made Yuta look really bad to lose all of his rope breaks that quickly, and Garcia to still have all of his and then still lose.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see it, and when I saw Yuta win, I was all the more confident that Claudio was walking out of Final Battle 2-time Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah, I obviously I didn't predict it on this show on Monday, but by the time Dynamite came around, I changed my tune and called a BCC sweep to match Matt's predictions, and sure enough, that happened. I just thought losing Regal, I thought that the club, the BCC, was going to be rewarded with losing Regal, and I just felt it made sense that they were going to win and do the sweep.
Yep.
Boy, match of the night, probably going to be a up there for match of the year type of deal. I knew when the Ass Boys said double dog collar match that this was going to be insane. And boy, just look at Dax Harwood's trunks that used to be white, and you realize
Matt Cardona GCW-esque.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Jesus Christ, there was so much blood in like I think Mark Briscoe, I think, got busted open when the bell rang. It was so.
Even the ref got busted open.
Fucking Mike Posey.
The ref blading, man. I don't think I've ever seen a referee blade.
Well, what was Posey doing in there? Because Paul Turner was the ref. Did they have 2 refs for this?
They had 2 refs for the match. Yeah.
Okay, I thought
because of the chaotic nature of the match, they needed multiple referees.
And they did a lot of split screen, which was great, so we could not miss anything. I thought that the production was great on that. A good call on that by doing a lot of the split screen when they broke up and were beating the shit out of each other. And I was instantly excited on Wednesday when I heard when that announcement was made, because I don't think I've ever seen a double dog collar match, a tag team.
I don't think one has ever happened, at least not on national television.
Oh man,
maybe it's happened in an independent show or whatnot, but
yeah. And Mark Cho's right. Posey used to be a wrestler, so
touche. Point.
Yeah, that match just had it all, and it basically the dog collars came into play. Mark was using it to keep Cash from preventing Dax from tapping out or passing out, which would happen here.
Yeah.
And now your Briscoe brothers are 13-time Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, which they're going to stick around. So that's good to hear for the Ring of Honor.
Them boys are signed. They're not going anywhere.
No.
They've had a very nice 2022 of not having to do a whole lot of work and get paid for it. So
yeah,
I think that'll change next year.
Steven in the chat, 5-star match from FTR and the Briscoes. Congrats to the Briscoes. Do you guys seeing FTR lose the IWGP tag titles at Wrestle Kingdom? Yes, I see them. I see them losing every title.
Everything.
They're going to be on a losing streak until they regain the AEW tag titles.
Yeah, I think when they regain the AEW tag titles, they're not going to have any other titles to fall back on. I think it's going to be they're going to drop the IWGP, they're going to drop the AAA, and it's going to be like we need gold, and we have to get it in our home. And they work their way up the ladder, and they re-challenge, be it the Acclaimed or whoever the champions are at the time. And I do see, FTR, taking those titles. But at the same token, we're talking double or nothing. It could be Punk and FTR against the Elite for the trios titles. So you can't rule that out either. Like there's a lot of ways they can go, but I think before FTR wins AEW gold again, they're going to lose every other title they have before it happens.
Yep. Obviously a hard match to follow when you got to follow the Briscoes and FTR. But I tell you what, Samoa Joe and Juice, I think, put together a very solid bruising match to follow up whatever you want to describe the dog collar match as. I thought Joe and Juice did a good job following the impossible.
Dude, they were put in a no-win situation, and I still thought they had a great match.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Samoa Joe, the man, by the way, he's the only guy that walked in the Ring of Honor Final Battle and walked out with his championship, because Samoa Joe is the king of television.
I love that moniker, the king of television.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Love it. I love Samoa Joe, man. I'm so happy for that dude. He's tearing it up like it's fucking 2015.
Yep.
I could not be happier to see him doing what he's doing right now. It's freaking great.
Yeah, how can we forget 2 years ago he's sitting there with a raincoat on. Main event, Claudio Castagnoli against Chris Jericho. Man, if you would have told me that the swing was going to cause a submission, I would have laughed at you. But I thought that was a fucking brilliant end to the match.
I loved it. I loved it.
Because you know how Jericho's always been anti-swing. Going back to WWE, he's when they've had their matches there and in AEW as well, and he wants the swing band, and they go over 30 revolutions, and Jericho taps out to the swing.
It was so awesome. I marked out because I just totally didn't see it coming. I freaking loved it.
Yeah, that was great. As soon as Wheeler won, I kind of felt a little better that it was going to be the sweep there, and it's going to be I don't know.
If Yuta wouldn't have won, I would have been really worried about the main event.
Yeah.
So Yuta won kind of like made me go, all right, Claudio's got this.
And the second part of pay-per-view Saturday was NXT Deadline, which happened on the Peacock, the last premium live event for WWE this year, and of course, obviously for NXT, but also WWE since there's no pay-per-view. They announced the next one coming up will be Vintage Day in February, so that'll be the next PLE for NXT. But Deadline, I tell you what, knowing nothing about the Iron Survivor Challenge since it's not been played out, I thought both matches were very entertaining. I thought the men's was a little better because it was a little more chaotic with the scoring. But I thought both matches were doing something new. I thought they were both very entertaining and well done. What were your thoughts on the Iron Survivor matches?
I didn't love either match, but I didn't hate them either like I expected to. I think it played out better than anybody could have predicted. That didn't work for the company.
Yeah.
My main critique on the match is the penalty clock for the box should not begin until the person that was pinned or submitted is put in the cage.
I said the same thing.
Yes, that 90-second clock down going immediately before they even get to the penalty box. No way. That needs to be adjusted for the next year when they do these. But that's honestly my only like big critique of the match. Like,
yeah, I thought the action was good. I thought the format was good, especially the men with everybody going 2-2, and poor JD McDonough getting shut out. But and there was a fight in the penalty box. I called it. I go, there's got to be one point where two people are in the penalty box at the same time and they fight. Well, they ended up actually both getting out of the box, but then going back into the box. But still, there was still a fight in the penalty box. For the women, obviously Roxanne Perez coming out on top, as we both predicted, as we are predicting that she will be the one to take the title off of Mandy Rose. But the women, I thought it was a good match. The men, I was surprised. I think it was because everybody and their dog thought Carmella was going to win. So I think HB Shizzle decided to pull a swerve and have Grayson Waller win, which is not a bad choice either in my book, because I think Waller's great.
I have zero desire to see Braun Breaker face Grayson Waller.
I just want this title reign to end.
This is even worse than Breaker and Gacy. I have no desire to see Waller and Breaker. Like, absolutely.
At least none. Waller's a good heel.
I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. If that's the main event if they delay this till their next event in February, I'm just going to turn it off when the main event starts, because I have no desire to freaking see it. Like,
don't like Grayson Waller?
Not. I don't. I can't stand Grayson Waller. He's on Austin Theory level of get the fuck off my TV for me. I don't like either of them.
I love Grayson.
Yeah, I can't. I think he fucking sucks. So I have no desire to see that match. And as much as I think it's time for Braun to lose the title, I sure as hell don't want it to be to Grayson Waller. So if that was their whole plan, to get Braun backed against an opponent, by all means, I guess mission successful. But I think this should have been Carmella's time.
Well, does that tell you that Carmella's getting called up?
I don't know. He said in some interviews last week that he wouldn't feel right going up to the main roster if he never got a shot at the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
hell,
maybe that is the plan.
Apollo Crews got called up without even having a feud at NXT. So, but yeah, it's true. I mean,
he had feuds. He didn't really get to establish his character. He had a feud with Baron Corbin before he got called up.
That lasted like a week or two, but
it was still a feud.
Great match between Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, except for the end. I'm not really excited about this poison gimmick. A little hokey, in my opinion, for pro wrestling in 2022.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Plus, when it was already, this was stuff that was already done with Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss and all that, 2-3 years ago. I am not a fan. I'm a fan of Isla Dawn and this character of hers, but yeah, not a fan of that poison stuff, man. Mist is fine. The Mist is a pro wrestling tool that's been used forever and a day, but yeah, that whole gimmick with the ref. Yeah, I think you agreed with me on that. Waller greater than Theory, says Mark Cho. I love Grayson Waller, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, if you're forcing me to choose,
well,
I'll go with Waller, but like, I can't stand either of them.
Oh my god. So Isla Dawn getting the win there. Great tag match between New Day and Pretty Deadly. I thought this was a great match. Probably a 1A and 1B with the men's Survivor Challenge is my favorite match of the night. Were you surprised that the New Day won?
Yes and no. Yes, because I didn't think they would actually go through with it, but no, because I said on Tuesday when this match was made, in no multiverse should the New Day be losing to Pretty Deadly.
Nope, you're right.
So I was very happy to see that them win, and I actually think New Day holding those titles is a nice shot in the arm for the NXT brand for however long it is that they hold them.
I think it's going to make Tuesdays a lot more interesting to have those guys there, their energy, their experience and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, geez, that pop when I mean, nobody and their dog knew it was happening. They kept that a good secret. And that pop was a shock pop, when that music hit. You did not expect those two guys to come through on a Tuesday Night Live program. So we are well into the show, so we are going to go through news. We are not much to cover. We'll skip Raw because that happened a week ago. We might briefly get through Dynamite real quick too, but let's get through the news real quick. Some breaking news, interesting news that just dropped here today. And it has been announced that there's a very big backstage hire, and that is that the AEW has hired Mike Mansouri, and he is returning to wrestling as a senior vice president and co-executive producer for AEW. He served as vice president of global television production for WWE. And he's been around AEW shows for the last several weeks at least. But this hire, according to Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select, says it's bigger than many realize on the surface. When Triple H took the regime over, many asked if Kevin Dunn would be on his way out. When they asked at WWE, they were repeatedly told one person who seemed to be poised to be the guy to replace Kevin Dunn left the company. So that's how big that is. You know how big the role Kevin Dunn has in WWE. This guy was supposed to be the successor to Kevin Dunn and maybe save us from those stupid ass camera cuts.
Yeah.
Until today, that person that they kept saying was in the wings was nameless because, well, he was no longer with the company. And then it was revealed that from WWE sources, after this hire was made official, it was they kind of went on record to say that was the guy that they were talking about. Another source indicated that he was a name that they thought Triple H would try to bring back to the company when he was let go from WWE. And they didn't think Mansouri would come back unless he was taking over Kevin Dunn's role. Dunn has not budged from his spot, unfortunately for us.
Fire his ass. I guess you have no one to replace him with now, so I guess you can't fire his ass.
According to another source within WWE, from talent and staff within AEW, and they were happy about the hiring, and people in WWE also were happy about the hiring. So he's a very well-liked guy and apparently very, very talented in the production type of world if he was going to be a guy that was a successor to Kevin Dunn. What are your thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, look, all you need to do, he worked from WWE from 2009 to 2020, and just go back and look at the production values that Black and Gold NXT had. And if you liked the production and camera style and stuff that NXT was doing, in its heyday when everybody loved NXT, that's the style that's going to be coming to AEW. That's a huge boost to their overall production, because there's a lot of people out there. One of the main complaints about AEW is they miss a lot of spots, on camera.
Yep.
They miss a big moment because the camera's in the wrong spot at the wrong time and all that. That's not going to happen under this guy once he gets his feet underneath him again.
Yeah.
So I think AEW production as a whole is going to rise dramatically with this guy at the helm. I said this on social media this afternoon. I know a lot of people are going to sleep on this hire because he's not a wrestler, but this is one of the biggest backstage hires AEW could have gotten this year. Mm-hmm. This is a big win for the company, and it spells great things for the overall presentation of the AEW product in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge hire, especially if this was the guy that was supposed to replace Kevin Dunn. Big news, kind of historic news was made. Actually, this was kind of a report that was already out by Fightful ever since August, and then PW Insider has broken the story out earlier today that Carl Anderson is going to be defending his Never Openweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. And this was a big thing ever since Anderson and Gallows got signed back to WWE. And, this is a report that Sean Ross Sapp had going back to August in regards to...
Well, to be fair, he heard rumblings about this in August, but he didn't report it until October.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everybody's talking about it today because of the PW Insider report, but this has been out there for a while. It's kind of like Sean's report last week that AEW Fight Forever is not scheduled to be a yearly title, but that's been out there for about the last year or whatever. If you listen to any interview from Kenny Omega or Ukes when they were talking about the development of this game, it's not scheduled to be a yearly title. So it just comes down to when a prominent reporter posts news and then sometimes the previous news gets lost in the shuffle, it becomes relevant again. This is one of those times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Anderson, Omega, Banks, like, is Wrestle Kingdom 17 a must-see live event? Like, are we going to be up at, like, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning watching this show?
I didn't know if it was going to be, so I canceled my day off for that. Oops.
Oh, no.
I'll have to watch it on demand.
Oh, no.
Frantic World joining us. Thank you for joining us, man. Do you guys think 2023 will be a great year for AEW? I mean, I honestly think so, because you're going into year 4 of a company that is learning every day. There are obviously growing pains with a new promotion that we've seen throughout 2022 that they are going to learn from and get better at. And, you know, with pro wrestling being under the control of Tony Khan and Triple H now, it's going to be a competitive market that is going to be where the fans win. And I think it's going to be a tremendous year for both companies, to be honest.
I do. I think 2023 is going to be huge across the board for wrestling, both WWE and AEW. But since the question was about AEW, look, I think in January you're coming right off the bat with the reported hire. Everybody assumes Sasha Banks is coming in. That's huge. Everybody think a lot. I won't say everybody, but a lot of people think CM Punk's coming back. That's huge. You're going to get your new television deal in 2023 for significantly more money than they're making now. That's huge. You got your video game coming out next year. That's huge. There's a lot of big factors, and I truly think 2023 could be AEW's biggest year they've ever had. Just as long as the injury bug doesn't bite them in the ass again, and they can ride that momentum throughout the year.
Steven in the chat, are you guys going to tune in tomorrow to Vice TV's Vince McMahon show? Of course, I work Tuesday nights, so I am not going. I'll have to catch it.
I'm going to DVR it, and I normally don't DVR the Vice stuff, but I think I want to see this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna DVR this. I meant to actually set this up on DVR this afternoon, and I forgot.
I don't get Vice.
After the show, I'm going to try to remember to set this DVR up.
I don't get Vice on YouTube TV, but there's a streaming service called Friendly TV, which is only $8 a month, and it has a few key channels that YouTube TV doesn't have, like History Channel and Vice and a few others. And so I think I'm going to probably restart my subscription to that tonight and set the DVR for that, and then kind of binge run some more Pawn Stars, then maybe cancel it for a few more months.
Makes sense.
Let's go into our next story here.
But Starbucks won't be around at 5 a.m. for me to order them.
Yeah, I know, man. And I work at 8:30, so it's like I would just take the day off. But
I'm gonna have to talk to my boss about it.
It has been official. William Regal has come to terms with WWE. He is going to be a vice president of something. We don't know yet, but he's a vice president. And he is going to start in January at the beginning of the year. Of course, he decided not to renew his contract with AEW. And of course, his son, Charlie Dempsey, is starting to pick up some steam. We're running out of time, so we're not going to talk about NXT's last week, but I'm kind of excited with a possible partnership of Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey. What do you on that page too, Matt?
I certainly think that's what they were teasing towards. And look, Gulak was doing nothing on the main roster. Let him do something in NXT.
Oh my God!
Honestly,
he is too talented to not.
There's a handful of talents that Michaels can be given from Hunter. Bring them down to NXT and utilize them down there.
Yeah.
And I think it would be beneficial for all parties involved to do that. Yeah. So, yeah, and look, with Regal coming back in, I'm hoping I'm hoping Michaels becomes more of a an on-screen authority role and less of an overall creative role. And I'm hoping Regal, starts heavily assisting with the creative direction of NXT again, because I think that would be a very, very good thing for the company.
And also news that came out over the weekend, William Regal in an interview said that Vince McMahon let him out of his contract early to join AEW. So there was some kindness out of Vince McMahon before he walked out the door to allow him to join AEW. And what a great year. He had a great run in AEW with the Blackpool Combat Club. And I don't blame him for leaving, going back to NXT where he shouldn't have been fired in the first place. And he gets to be with his son now as he develops in NXT, who I'm really starting to take a liking to. Once he starts development more, man, I think Charlie Dempsey's going to be a hell of a talent there. Vice president. Yep, he's a vice president of something. Scrumptious stuff. You scrumptious little Rice Krispie treat, you. That's the thing I'm going to miss the most about William Regal out of AEW is him flirting
as long as Regal isn't the vice president of human resources.
Because
I hope he doesn't go around saying stuff like that to people at NXT.
Did I hear right that he is prohibited from being on camera for a year?
I don't know how long, but probably for a duration of next year. That's in terms of Tony agreeing to, let this split happen.
Thank you, Steven Chambers, for reminding me I forgot to watch SmackDown this week. I'm so damn busy and there's too much wrestling sometimes. How did Gable Steveson do with Kurt Angle? Was it a friendly thing?
They did the milk truck thing with Alpha Academy.
Okay.
So they with Otis ate cake and they hosed them down with milk, and it was a whole thing.
They were all just fine. It was all friendly. I will probably.
Well, it was friendly with Gable and Kurt. It wasn't friendly with Alpha Academy.
Okay.
Because Alpha Academy was upset that Kurt Angle didn't invite them to his birthday party.
Oh, okay.
So, because he was having a birthday party backstage through the whole episode.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get in, so they were mad about it. So they confronted him in the main event segment. It was fine.
Awesome. Little interesting story I wanted to bring up as our last story of the evening. Britt Baker talked with Ian Douglas from The Ringer about what got her into pro wrestling. And I thought it was an interesting thing because I wanted to bring it up because, well, this was something Matt attended. And it was Daniel Bryan's story at WrestleMania 30 is what got her into pro wrestling. I thought that was very interesting. And I mean,
what a magical show, man.
I mean, there was I don't know was there ever any moment that the crowd was ever louder than WrestleMania 30?
Oh, man, look, I think they would have been even louder if the streak wouldn't have ended.
Oh yeah, that killed a lot that night.
I think Undertaker's streak ending kind of took something out of that crowd before the main event.
Yeah.
And as loud and as hyped as everybody was, I think it would have been even louder.
Yeah.
Had Taker not lost to Lesnar that night.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool to see that is what got her into pro wrestling, and now look where she is. She's one of the top women in the company right now at AEW. So, very cool to see that. Like I said, we'll talk. Raw's in the rearview mirror. When we have time, we'll bring up Raw. I didn't even watch SmackDown yet. Was SmackDown good? It's been good lately.
It was all right. I remember enjoying it for the most part.
Well, let's fly through AEW Dynamite real quick here, which was live from where were we? I forget where we're at, but anyways,
somewhere in Texas,
somewhere deep in the heart of Texas was AEW Dynamite. The Diamond,
I think it was Austin. I think they were in Austin, Texas.
What? The Diamond Battle Royale occurred, and we continued the Ethan Page, Matt Hardy story, and Sean Dean. Watch out to all the mothers out there, but Sean Dean was in the Final Four. That was an impressive showing from him. I was kind of surprised because he's never really been.
Look, he's the only guy who's defeated MJF twice.
It's true.
And then MJF did not include him on his list of people that will not defeat him for the AEW Championship.
I don't think we were
MJF
surprised.
MJF fears Sean Dean, damn it.
I know Matt keeps fearing the figure poke of doom, but
well, not anymore. They've exhausted every opportunity for that to take place, So I don't have to. My biggest fear was like MJF was going to beat Starks and he was going to be worn down, and Paige was going to come out and like, oh, I'm doing the thing for the ring right now, and MJF's fine, and they ring the bell and they do the poke thing, and I'm like, I was so terrified of that happening, and I'm so glad it's not.
Ricky Starks wins the Dynamite Diamond Ring, the first guy to win it. That's not MJF, but I thought that was a perfect gimmick for MJF to win this many times, 3 times.
The thing is, he's going to win it again on Wednesday,
Yeah.
so it's not like it's not even like Ricky even gets. He has to fight MJF for it.
That's right. I forgot because we haven't never really had a contender for it. Yeah, you had to fight for it, but my God, how good was Ricky Starks on the mic on Wednesday?
Oh, dude, it was look. I already thought Ricky Starks was a star, but that was a star-making performance for absolute Ricky Starks on Dynamite last week.
Oh, that was so good. The world was buzzing. I went back and saw. I was gone on Wednesday, but I went back and saw some tweets, and the world was buzzing. Joe and Darby Allin, that was a hell of a match of Darby just getting the shit beat out of him for 10 minutes basically with Joe winning. Then Wardlow making the save. God, that muscle buster onto the trucks of that skateboard, that had to feel good, huh?
That man.
that
match was awesome, and that aftermath was insane.
Some of those bumps. What took Wardlow so long to make the save for crying out loud?
Dude, I tweeted, I'm like, man, Wardlow taking that long to come out kind of makes him look like a dick.
Well, it's not the first time he's looked like a dick, but anyways. The BCC beat the JAS in tag action. So basically, they're in the rearview mirror. They showed an interview that Regal did with Tony Schiavone. I thought that was a great way to wrap up Regal and explain everything. I thought they did that.
It was the best possible scenario that they could have come up with at that point. I don't have a problem with that. I know some people want to poke holes in it, and and all that, and like honestly, in the situation they found themselves in, it made the most sense.
Yeah.
So
we had 6 women tag with Jade and the Baddies against Kiera Hogan, Madison Rayne, Sky Blue. I don't know if it was just the look on her face, but it looks like Red Velvet is not happy with Jade. We'll see if that progresses. Jade now 43-0. As we mentioned, there is a mystery partner for Saraya on the January 11th Dynamite. We've already went into that in full detail. And your main event was a goddamn classic between FTR and the Acclaimed. I thought that was a hell of a match there.
Very good match.
To close out Dynamite. Yet another tremendous Dynamite. As we look forward to winter, it is coming on Wednesday, and we don't have a lot announced. House of Black's going to kill some people. Death Triangle.
I think it's going to be Kingston and Ortiz based on Rampage.
It just says in action. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Kingston and Ortiz are going to be involved somehow.
Yeah, I didn't watch Rampage either. I was out, so I'm a socialite lately, so I'm missing wrestling.
How dare you?
I know. So it just says House of Black in action on the graphic. Match 4 between Death Triangle Elite. We're probably both on the same page that we think it's going to be Death Triangle going 3-1.
I think they're going to do that, but I mean, I could also see them splitting it 2-2 and doing a best of 3. But I think the NBA people in the Elite are going to want to come back from the 3-1 deficit. So we'll see.
Do you like Brian Alvarez's booking MK in the chat? Have Starks beat MJF the night for the ring, so it shows MJF can lose even though we know he's going to win on Wednesday.
I mean, they could have done that, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And I think the Diamond Ring fits more of a heel character anyway, so I definitely feel like we're stuck with MJF having it for another year.
FTR beating the Acclaim at Revolution. Well, if they lose all their titles by then, I think they're going to go on a losing streak.
I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it.
Yeah. Ruby Soho taking on Ty Mello, and of course, winner take all. Your main event for winter is coming. MJF and Starks. So that's going to be a tremendous one. Santana hurt. Well, Santana and Ortiz professionally are not getting along, so that's not going to factor into anything there.
Santana is still hurt though.
Yeah. I need to watch Rampage. Like I said, I haven't got my Friday wrestling in yet.
Yeah, dude. No, honestly, Rampage is very good this week. You should
Takeshita,
make a chance to watch it.
Matt knows, and if you listen to me on Twitter, I have a man crush on Takeshita. That dude is a freaking
honestly,
talent.
Yeah, this is two of your favorites. You're gonna love this match.
Mox is my number one guy. So
yeah.
And we got 5 minutes before Raw, so let's talk about Raw. This is from Fightful Select. Look who's working main event tonight. Kylie Ray. Of course, that's been reported that Kylie Ray may be coming to the company. And of course, as it is with NXT, if you go to Fightful Select, there's a great article on Patreon about NXT talent being used at main event. It's to get basically it's to get another look at them since they're not on the road, but also it's kind of a reward if you're doing well on television, which Inoue and Bleav have been, I think, been doing very well as a tag team. They are working main event as well. What we got on tap, the finals, the title shot tourney finals, Alexa Bliss and Bayley. Yeah, Bayley winning that, Matt.
Man, for the sake of having something different, I'm gonna go with Alexa Bliss.
A lot of people think she's turning heel tonight.
I don't want to see Bayley and Bianca again. It's been done to death. So for the sake of something different, I'm going Alexa Bliss.
This is gonna be a banger. AJ Styles and Chad Gable. That's gonna be a fun match. The Street Profits and Akira Tozawa take on Judgment Day. Oh, this will be good. Candice LeRae and Io Sky. There's some history with those two ladies going back to NXT.
I hope they touch on that.
Me too. There is a Elias concert, Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and for the U.S. title, Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. Looking at the spoilers, let's see. Oh, I'm not going to give out too many spoilers, but looks like maybe going forward we might be seeing Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander as a tag team, which I don't hate at all.
No, I'll believe it when I see it on Raw.
Yep.
Anything that happens on main event, I take it all with a grain of salt.
On paper, this looks to be a good Raw.
Fingers crossed.
Well,
see how it works.
Once again, thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleav in Pro Wrestling here. That way you get notified when we go live or when a new episode drops with Rick and Sid as well. And, of course, you can always join us every Monday if you're listening to us on demand. If you are able to do so, join us for that hour before Raw because we go live. Join us for the conversation. We appreciate everybody in the chat tonight for your questions and comments and everything. We really appreciate you guys joining us live, making the show fun. And we are going to, see what happens this week as we start WWE, now shifting focus to the Royal Rumble, AEW, obviously big title match on Wednesday. What are your final thoughts, Matt?
Whew, man, we had a good weekend of shows. I'm hoping we get another good week, and it's going to be quiet for the next several weekends until the Rumble. So it's going to be kind of odd to not have a big weekend wrestling show for the next, month and a half.
Yeah.
So
your big wrestling shows are going to be on Wednesdays.
Yeah. There's a lot of big wrestling events scheduled for Wednesdays upcoming. Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom for one.
Yeah.
So,
well, for Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost the Midcard. Brought to you by Bet Online.